What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we're going to talk about the Deathseed once again in the context of Dark Dimension. Last time we were taking a look at Archangel together with the other Horseman characters and see how Archangel was doing on the legendary lane of the Dark Dimension 5. And unfortunately, even together with the Horseman characters, Archangel was not very impressive. He lacked the sustainability in order to keep himself alive and make himself useful against those last 3 nodes that allow you to unlock Dormammu. And that was kind of disappointing because it lowers a little bit the value of the Deathseed as an overall investment for your game progress. So in this video we are going to take a look at the other Deathseed characters and see if they can increase the value of this team as an overall investment in the game. And therefore we are going to take a look at Nemesis, Psylocke and Dark Beast in action and see what they are able to do in Dark Dimension 5 and if overall that's going to increase the value of this team. So as always, if you like information on these videos, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, so we are going to take a look at the Deathseed non-legendary characters in action on the global nodes and see how they perform. Okay, so here we go, node number 1 on Dark Dimension 5, and we are going to use the Deathseed, and we are also going to try to use other valuable characters like Spider Weaver, which is also required for Apocalypse. She's a great Cosmic Crucible Alliance Wars character. Then we are going to use Captain Sam. I think you can also use Captain America. Unfortunately, I'm not able to test Captain America because I don't have enough vibranium, but as soon as I have, I will try to gear him up and see how they perform. And then we have the non-legendary Deathseed. We're going to see if this combination of characters is going to be good enough in order to go through the global lane. Okay, so node number 1, let's see this team in action. Then we are going to take a look at the other nodes as well. And of course, this is me. I'm a very experienced player in Dark Dimension 5, so this is going to be way easier for me, but I think if you guys take a look at the gameplay, you can also take some notes on which characters to attack and how to use the Deathseed on Dark Dimension 5 global nodes. Okay, so you can see one good thing about Captain Sam and also the OG Captain America is that they not only provide buffs but energy, and having some decent energy flow on this team is going to be amazing. Spider Weaver loves energy, and Deathseed, they don't really require a lot of energy because their cooldowns are low, but it's always helpful, right? If you can spam the abilities more often than not, that's going to be interesting. You'll see that throughout this video that I don't use very often the special yes of Dark Beast, but it's something that you can use more often than I was using because it gives you 2 turns of defense up, and that can be very convenient. Okay, so I was also saving that ability because of reviving the characters, but you'll see that it's not very important to revive the characters, especially if you are playing with Captain America, because he's so much a better tank than Captain Sam. Then you can literally spam the special ability of Beast without having any problem. Just make sure that you try to focus on characters that have evades or characters that have like block chance or anything like that that are more annoying to deal with. Okay, so far so good. I would say that we will destroy the first wave of enemies. We are now on the second wave, and you always want to apply ability block to those taskmasters so they don't apply blind to your team. Even if they apply blind to your team, it's not going to be a big deal because with the Psylocke you can throw all the negative effects on your team to the enemies, and that's not going to be a big deal. So that's the first node already. As you can see, extremely quick. The amount of damage that Nemesis and Dark Beast apply to the enemies is just insane. And Psylocke is just here to give a little bit more control with her ultimate, but also give them some additional survivability with the evades and also with the counters. It's very important that you do that. A good thing about Spider Weaver on this team is that any buff that you apply to Nemesis, after Nemesis can spread them to the other Deathseed characters, and that increases the value of Nemesis and also of Spider River. It's just amazing the combinations we can do with these characters. And once again, if you have the OG Captain America, that's going to be even better because he's always going to apply defense up and immunity for 2 turns for everyone. So that was the first node. Now let's take a look at the second node and see how they perform. Okay, here we go for the second node. Once again, we are using the same team. It was one attack just after the other. Let's see how this team is going to perform. This node is a lot more difficult because we have all those yo-yos and they are quite annoying to deal with. Now, if you are unlucky and if yo-yo spawns with evade, you might want to reset the node just to make sure that you can apply stun to her because that's going to be very helpful as well. Other thing that you might take into consideration is resetting the node once again because of Squirrel Girl. Sometimes she heals up first, other times she doesn't, and you always want her to heal up first, otherwise she's gonna clear all those negative effects away. But even if you don't do that, you can still do just fine. I'm just telling you this so you have the easiest time possible. With Miss Marvel, you don't have to worry about her. She will taunt a few times, but it's not a big deal. Just focus your damage on Yo-Yo and also on Mordo. You don't want to deal with his stuns, and you also don't want to deal with his heal block, which can be very, very annoying. Here is a good opportunity for you to use the special of Dark Beast on Yo-Yo, so you have additional attacks done to her. And at this point, you don't have nothing to worry about. You should try to apply offense down to Black Bolt to make sure it doesn't kill any of your targets. How do you do that? You attack with any character that is not Dark Beast, because Dark Beast has 60% assist chance, and those assists are going to apply offense down to the enemy. So applying offense down to Black Bolt is very, very important in order for you to increase the survivability of your team. Okay, so here I'm gonna try to remove all those positive effects from the enemies. I'm gonna apply ability block to Black Bolt, and this might be counterintuitive, but if you cannot apply offense down to him, it's just better to stop him from doing his special, because his special does a lot of damage and is also unavoidable. So he can do some nasty damage to your Psylocke, and you really don't want to deal with that. So there you go, you can see that I'm doing some damage to Yo-Yo once again. Yo-Yo is really a priority target because as soon as you get rid of her, you can do a lot more damage to the enemies, and that's the best way to go about it. So I destroyed Hawkeye before he does his ultimate. His ultimate apply blinds and slows to you. You don't want to deal with any of that. You want to keep the special of Nemesis going as often as possible, so you always have speed up on your characters. But if you have the opportunity of spreading those buffs from Spider Weaver, that's going to be helpful as well. Okay, so here you want to get rid of the 2 characters at the same time, and when this third wave drops, you want to have the ultimate of Captain Sam in order for you to have additional turn. If you have Captain America instead, it's not going to matter because it's going to give you immunity and defense up for the entire team, and that's way more helpful and long lasting, because sometimes, like for example right here, we got the defense up buff, but we are already going to have the turn, so the defense up is not going to last. This is why Captain America is much better than Captain Sam, because the buffs are long lasting even for himself when he's taunting. Okay, so in terms of priority targets here, I like to apply ability block to Squirrel Girl as fast as possible. I don't want her to do any kind of healing. Then, depending on which character was left from the previous wave, you want to get rid of them, especially if it's Black Bolt. And then you kinda want to nuke that Squirrel Girl just to make sure that they don't have any kind of healing. After that, you want to go after Black Panther and Okoye. You don't want any kind of assists or big damage or damage mechanics from the Wakanda characters, so the faster you stop them, the better. And of course this is going to be after Squirrel Girl, because the way we are winning is by applying negative effects to the enemy. So if by any reason one of the enemies clears negative effects away, that's going to compromise your ability to win. And yes, it's true that some of those Black Widows, they can also remove negative effects from the enemies, but because you are applying so many and they just remove a few, it's not going to matter way too much. Okay, so we are down to the last wave, and at this point you want to destroy the 2 enemies at the same time. And then once again you want to focus on the dangerous characters. This time the biggest danger is Magneto, because he's going to pull everyone together. Therefore you want to ability block him with the Dark Beast, or you want to stun him with Spider Weaver. The reason why you don't want to have all the characters packed together is because Silver Surfer is going to do his special and apply Disrupt and Defense down to your team, and you don't want that. Okay, so you ability block Magneto and you stun Jubilee, or you do the other way around, and then you want to get rid of both of them. I will go for Magneto first, because he's going to give speed up to himself, and that means he's going to have faster turns, and you don't want that. In terms of the Silver Surfer, if you are lucky, you can time out the charges from Spider Weaver with the Silver Surfer ultimate, and therefore is not going to affect you. Even if he attacks you, it's not going to matter too much, because you should be able to survive it, especially if you have evade, especially if you have the defense up and so on. And then you just get rid of Jubilee. Depending which character has the stun or the ability block, you want to prioritize the one that has the stun, because you only ask for one turn. And after that, just get rid of Silver Surfer, get rid of Hawkeye, especially before his second turn where he has the ultimate. After that, once again, as I mentioned before, you want to apply that offense down to Black Bolt. Make sure it does the least amount of damage possible. You also want to do the same to Yo-Yo, but because she has so many dodges, because she has so many evades, it's gonna be hard, so leave her for last, unlike what we did before. And like this, you'll be able to one-shot the second node of Dark Dimension 5 Global with the Deathseed team non-legendary characters. Okay, so you can see, like, at this point just put on auto and try to save as many cooldowns as possible for the last node of the global Dark Dimension 5. Okay, here we go for the last node of Dark Dimension 5 Global. Are we going to be able to one-shot this node with the Deathseed? If that will be the case, that's going to greatly increase the value of this team, because that means they are amazing for Dark Dimension. So I'm gonna stun the Invisible Woman. I don't want her to give offense down to me, and also I don't want her to give barrier to the enemies. After that, I'm going to ability block the Kree Royal Guard, because I don't want him to taunt, otherwise I have to focus on him, and I don't want to do that. And after that, we just want to do as much damage as possible. I like to attack a few times the Wasp, just to make sure that she has offense down, otherwise she can do some big burst damage to your team, especially if you don't have the defense up ready. And with Spider Weaver, we apply those buffs. You can see right here, we gave offense up and defense up to Nemesis, and now you're going to be able to spread that with his special. This is so amazing about this character, and how much he synergizes with characters that are not part of this team. It's very, very amazing. So all buffs that he gets from Captain Sam, Spider Weaver, Captain America, Nemesis is going to be able to spread all of that. Okay, so I like to prioritize here Invisible Woman and Scientist Supreme. Invisible Woman, she clears all negative effects away. Scientist Supreme, she revives characters, and she also flips negative effects away. And we don't want any of that. Once again, the thing about the Deathseed, which makes them so good, it's not only the survivability, but also the control that we can have with the Dark Beast. Okay, so first wave is gone. Now we're going for the second wave, and this second wave can be very, very dangerous. I was putting my tablet to charge because 11% left, and therefore, like, you have to be very careful. So what you want to do, ability block one of the Invisible Womans, and you are going to completely nuke the other one. You really want to destroy the other one. You want to make sure that she doesn't have any turns, and this is going to be awesome for you, because this is the path to one shot. So I ability block one, I have the stun for the other one. You kind of don't need to stun, it really depends on how fast the enemies are going. Sometimes you can apply the slow a lot earlier. And then you just have to be careful with the Pimtech characters, because they do a lot of damage. And once again, if you can apply offense down to Wasp, that's going to be quite amazing. If you don't need to stun the second Invisible Woman, you can stun the Wasp instead, and that's going to be amazing as well, because you are going to save yourself a lot of frustration, because that Wasp can one-shot people, and it's not nice. Okay, so you can also avoid some of the damage with the charges of Spider Weaver, but it's really hard to time them out exactly. And here I'm going to use the special of Dark Beast to call for assist the other allies, and also make sure that I do some big damage there to Ant-Man, and also to clear his evades away. This wave of enemies has so many evades, it's so annoying, and that's it. Okay, so the last Invisible Woman, she was still with the ability block, which is quite impressive, and now we have one of the last waves. This is the third wave. Here you can do a stun to one Kree Royal Guard, and you want to apply ability block to the second Kree Royal Guard. After that, you want to make sure that your Spider Weaver has enough charges for the Captain Marvel, and that will allow you to skip or ignore the Captain Marvel ultimate. The attack is not unavoidable, and therefore it's not going to do any damage to you. Okay, so in terms of, I think it's better to focus on Mr. Sinister. He clears he'll block away, which is quite annoying. He also does summons, which is quite annoying as well. So he's one of the characters you want to prioritize. Make sure you save the Psylocke special, just to make sure that you can remove positive effects from the enemies in case you decide to taunt with Captain Sam, and that's going to give offense up to multiple Kree characters because of Kree Cyborg. Okay, so I got unlucky there. I allow Mr. Sinister to clone my Spider Weaver, the worst character he could clone, but there we go, it happens. That's part of the job. Sometimes the inconvenient situations happen, but with Nemesis we are going to spread all those positive effects away. We're going to spread defense up, offense up, and counters. Counters is so important on this team because not only it allows us to do more damage, but also apply more negative effects to the enemies, including defense down and offense down. Okay, so the Spider Weaver, she did her first ultimate ability. That's going to give her charges. That's going to be very, very annoying for our team, and I thought that at this point I was not going to be able to do it, but the damage from the Deathseed team just comes through. And you have to remember, throughout all this journey we had a Dark Beast with the ability of reviving, and we never used it. It's quite impressive that the team has so much survivability. You have a revive and you don't even have to use the revive. Okay, so I'm trying to set up my cooldowns just to make sure they are ready for the last wave of enemies, which is going to be 2 Mr. Sinisters and 1 Doctor Doom. And you really want to have that ability block for Doctor Doom, but you also want to have the stun with Spider Weaver. But the ability block is the most important because it lasts for 2 turns, and yeah, you don't want Doctor Doom to use the ultimate on you, otherwise you're gonna be done. Okay, so there we go, we have the last Kree characters. If you can, for last, you want to leave the Kree Royal Guards. The Kree Nobles, once again, they are very annoying because they clear the negative effects away. This is something that you want to prevent as much as possible, so your priority targets are going to be the Kree Noble as well, not only Mr. Sinister. And there we go, we have the last wave. We start off with the ultimate of Captain Sam, and with Nemesis I spread the buffs around because we have all these evades, offense up, counters, and so on, so I really want to make sure that I'm able to spread all of that to increase my survivability. Okay, so here I got a little bit unlucky because the enemies, they cloned 2 Captain Sams, and that means they're going to have tons and tons of turn meter, and they're also going to get tons and tons of energy. So I was not sure, am I going to be able to finish off this and do this amazing one shot with the Deathseed in Dark Dimension 5? I was very, very scared, but yeah, we need to rush, we need to focus on that Doctor Doom. If we let his ultimate to go off, we pretty much lose the match, and we don't want any of that. But you can see these Captain Sams, they are going crazy. It's one after the other, giving tons and tons of turn meter not only for themselves but also for the Mr. Sinisters, and that's terrible because they are going to heal each other. You can see the ISO weights and all those things that they are using to give more healing to themselves. Also, one is skirmisher, other is a striker, so they also remove positive effects from our team. Here the charges of Spider Weaver coming through to protect her and save her from certain death, and now I taunt with Captain Sam finally. Let's see if we're gonna be able to finish this off. Spider Weaver with her healing. I changed her eyes weight from striker to healer because the healer is very convenient on these situations like Dark Dimension or even raids, in case you are not using the Eternals. And there we go, we are very close of being able to one-shot this last node of the global lanes on Dark Dimension 5, and that means the Deathseed team is just very good. Just as an end note, not only we were able to one-shot all the global nodes with the Deathseed team and non-legendary characters, but also on the free-for-all nodes we are also able to one-shot all nodes with just the Deathseed team plus the legendary characters. Of course, this is not something I recommend, but it's a fun fact in case you get up your other characters as well and you decide to bring them all to Dark Dimension 5. So yeah guys, that's gonna be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Indeed, the Deathseed is quite amazing for Dark Dimension 5, not only because of Nemesis, but also Dark Beast and Psylocke. Even that she's not like mind-blowing amazing, together with the other characters, they synergize well with other global options in order for you to complete the global nodes on Dark Dimension 5 and obtaining Dormammu. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.